Many of us use some sort of navigation while traveling to get to our desired destination. Have you ever stopped to ask, how was this all possible? On April 25th, join us on the Sisters Talk podcast as we talk with the American mathematician hero Gladys Mae West to discuss her contributions to the mathematical modeling that were eventually incorporated into the GPS. You don't want to miss this.
Watch Dannie M. and Aisya Carroll on the Sisters Talk podcast.
Thank you for tuning into the Sisters Talk podcast. I'm your host, Dannie M. And today we have very special guest, Camp Cleveland. Why don't you let everybody know who you are and where you're from?
All right. First and foremost, I want to thank you, Queen. I truly appreciate you allowing me to come on your platform. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. A lot of people know me as Camp Cleveland. That's my handle on social media and Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. My name is Taye Uhuru. I'm an author, I'm a historian, I'm a genealogist, I'm a musician, I'm a world traveler. I visited almost 70 countries around the world, and I've been to almost 20 countries on the continent of Africa.
Wow, that is very, very impressive. Like, do you mind if I ask how old are you?
I'm 36.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot of people who haven't even left their state, let alone traveled to several different, you said 70? Over
Yeah,
70?
7-0.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. So, I have a lot of questions for you, right? I have a lot of
Okay.
questions for you. Like, so I first want to ask you, like, what really motivated you to say, you know what, I want to travel the world. I want to understand different cultures and see different places.
I think it's something that started for me at a young age. My mom, she used to drive the Greyhound bus, and that's when I got to take my first trip. She would take us to places like Detroit, Chicago, Cincinnati. We would get to ride with her. And as an adult, I continued my journey to want to, see different places. And once I got a chance to see different parts of the country, I've been to maybe about 45 different states. Then I got my passport, and then I started, going to different countries and things like that.
Nice. So what age were you when you decided you wanted to get your passport?
I got my passport in 2010.
Okay, so that was a while ago. That's good. So let me ask, man, it's just like I have so many questions. What's the first country that you traveled to with your passport?
The first place I went to was Amsterdam. I actually had some friends that lived there. They was from South America, but they had migrated up there.
Right. Well, what happens in Amsterdam definitely stays in Amsterdam. Is it as wild as they say it is?
It's really laid back because a lot of things is legal. So they've been had the coffee shops and you can buy marijuana and smoke marijuana. They had a red light district. So it kind of alleviates a lot of crime and wild behavior because people can go, do what they want to do and they can go home.
So I want to know because the audience probably wants to know what's the red light district?
Okay, the red light district is basically a place where prostitution is legal. So it's an area where they have red lights around the windows. And if you go into this area, you'll see, people selling themselves from different parts of the world, but it's legal.
Wow,
So,
that's
pimping is
crazy.
illegal. Right, right.
That is crazy. Well, I mean, hey, different country, different strokes for different folks, I guess. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's interesting that you say it reduces crime because I guess, well, you can't get penalized, for something that's not against the law. That brings about a whole other topic for another segment, another day. So
Right,
after
right.
you left, what'd you say?
No, I said right, you right.
Oh yeah, yeah. So after you left Amsterdam and came back to America, how did you see, like, what were some major differences outside of the red light district, of course? What were some other differences that you saw, after you traveled there and came back home?
One of the major differences that I seen was the police officers in Amsterdam. Like many other countries, they don't all carry guns. So depending on the crime, you know what I'm saying? Say if you get a neighbor complaining about your music being too loud, or you get pulled over for driving too fast, the same police officer in America would come to your house, to try to give you a ticket or tell you turn the music down, But then if it's a bank robbery or a murder, those would be the same police officers that show up to the scene. So they're not adequately trained to deal with certain situations. They're always armed. They always got a bulletproof vest on. They got a K9, they got a shotgun. In Amsterdam, they would just send those armed police officers out if it's a violent crime. So the crime rate in Amsterdam is twice as low comparison to the United States. It's less mass shootings. People can't buy guns. It's not guns everywhere. So that was one of the things that I definitely noticed. It was a lot safer.
Interesting. And I guess you could probably bring that right back to reduce stress, and also just feeling more like themselves and free to kind of do what they please because they're adults. And I guess you can kind of say, in a sense, Amsterdam treats their citizens like they're adults. You make your own decisions. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. Interesting to hear that. And it also sounds like they have a bit of their own, like more structure to their unit. Like they move with purpose with their law enforcement. Like as opposed to here, it's just kind of like always ready to go. But over there, it seems like they have an understanding that if this is a civil situation, we're not going to go in armed and ready to go. We're just going to go figure out what the issue is and contain the situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that sounds like something we need to adopt in some sense. Not everything for people who's gonna see
Hmm.
this show, but some of the things. Let me just be clear with that. So, okay, so after you left Amsterdam, what did you set your eyes on in terms of the next trip? Do you remember where you went after that?
Um, I think my next trip, I think I returned to Amsterdam. So when I first kind of started off, because Europe is real small, so the countries is close together. So say like if you go from Atlanta to Nashville, or you go from Atlanta to Jacksonville, that's like
That's
going
it?
into a whole nother country. It's maybe 4 hours, 6 hours in the car. So I went to London. I was able to go to Spain and France. I've been all over Europe, you know what I'm saying? So that was
Nice.
the first place.
Let's talk about the food. Like, come on, you just made me hungry. So is the food really good in Spain? I'm assuming that it is, but what did you like the most when you went there?
Um, I don't know. I didn't really spend a lot of time in Spain. The European food, I didn't really care for it as much. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you go to Spanish speaking countries like Dominican Republic or Cuba, you know what I'm saying? I think that they
Right.
have a better, quality and a better taste of food. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So let's talk a little bit about, your flyer. Your flyer has you kind of in tandem with the Egyptian, hieroglyphics. And so I just want to know, like, the pyramid was just like right there behind you. That was an epic photo. Was that your idea or was that somebody else's?
I had always wanted to take that picture, so I,
I can
took advantage
tell. You
took
did
advantage of
good.
the moment. Yeah, I was ready for that one.
I can tell. But let me ask you, were you able to go inside of the pyramids? Do they allow the public to go inside?
Yeah, definitely. I've been inside of several pyramids. Every time I go to Egypt, I do tours and I take groups around. So really, it's dozens of pyramids. They got the step pyramid, the bent pyramid, the red pyramid, the pyramids of Giza. So a lot of them you can go into, and it's pretty much, they're safe and secure.
Now tell the audience a little bit more about what you do in terms of travel, because you just said you take groups of people to go see the pyramids. Let them know where they can find that information and give us an example of what a trip with you would be like.
Oh, okay, definitely. I do educational tours, so I take Americans, and particularly African Americans, back to different countries in Africa. The purpose of the tours is to educate them, clear up a lot of misconceptions that they have about African people and that they have about the continent of Africa. We have a tour that goes to Ghana, Senegal, Cape Verde, Egypt, Kenya, South Africa, and I'm planning on adding more tours, places like Tanzania, and things like that. The tours, they pretty much all inclusive. A round trip flight is included, the hotel, the breakfast, the dinner, all of the activities. Like I said, each of the pyramids that we go to, the historic sites, the museums, those things are included.
So
Flight
you already
insurance.
have a day planned out, like day 1 through 5, for instance, or 1 through 7, of where you're gonna go to have your breakfast, where you're gonna go on the first tour for the day, things like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's an itinerary that's already preset, but it's flexible, so it depends on the group. Because sometimes I've taken middle school students, high school students, college kids. I've taken elders, young adults. So, if people have their heart set on doing different things, and I'll work with them, and try to make it the best experience for them.
Love it, love it. And so with this itinerary that you have, do you also couple that with like traveling insurance? Because it's not like you guys are flying within the US. You guys are going to different countries. Luggage can get lost. Do you have insurance as well with that, or do you encourage, your group of people to get it just in case?
Yeah, definitely. All of the tours are fully insured, so it's flight insurance is included. So if any mishaps happen during the flights, and then also it's travel insurance. So if anything happen once we get off of the planes, if anybody gets sick, if they get COVID, if they get hospitalized, if they need to get life flighted back home, all of those things will be taken care of.
Awesome. I love to hear that. So let's get right into going back to Africa, right? So, what was your first country, or I should say, how do they call it, state within the African continent? Where did you fly in first? Was it Egypt? Was it a different area of the country?
My first trip to Africa, I went to South Africa. I went to Cape Town. I knew somebody that lived there, and they had invited me to come visit them. They hadn't been inviting me for a while, and then I finally went out there. It was an amazing experience. It's a very beautiful place, very friendly people, beautiful beaches, beautiful animals, rich culture, rich history. It was
What
a
about the
life-changing
food? Was the
experience.
food good?
Yeah, definitely. The food in South Africa is real good.
I know it is. Gosh. And then, so I guess I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. So within Africa, they're all states, or how do they partition each area?
Right now, it's almost 60 countries in Africa. Africa has the most countries out of any continent in the world, but I think that
Okay,
they're
so they're
working
partitioned
towards.
by countries. Okay, got it. I just want to make
But
sure I'm
they,
saying the
but
right
right
thing.
now, I mean, but they working towards that. They trying to make an African Union and where everybody, can be as one, but not yet. I don't think it's finalized.
Right. So how vastly different was South Africa from Egypt?
It's like day and night. Africa is the most diverse continent in the world. People tend to generalize Africa as, being one place. So an example that I can give to you, say like we live in America, we go to Haiti, we go to Dominican Republic, we go to Canada, we go to Mexico, we go to El Salvador, Guatemala. Those places are totally different. Different
Yeah.
languages, the people look different, the food is different, the weather is different, different laws, so many things that are different. Africa is 10 times more diverse than that. So Egypt and Africa, they might as well be like day and night.
Dang, that's amazing, man. So did you ever hit up the Ivory Coast?
No, not yet. I want to make it there, but I haven't yet.
Nice, nice. I mean, but Egypt and South Africa, that's a great start. What about anywhere like Ghana, or did you go to any Fulani tribe areas? Do you recall? Or like you just tell me where you went.
Right. Let me see. I've been to South Africa. I've been to Botswana. I've been to Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Madagascar, Seychelles, Comoros, Kenya, Ethiopia, Egypt, Morocco, Senegal, Cape Verde, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, um, maybe some
God,
more.
you've
I
been
think that's about it, something
everywhere.
like that. Yeah, I've
You've
been
been
all around.
everywhere. So when you say that's astounding. Let me just tell you, man, you are doing it. Like and
Thank you, thank
I got
you.
two different questions that popped up to mind. The first one I'll just ask right away as it relates to COVID. So has COVID-19 this year affected your plans for any like future travel? for 2021?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I had to make some adjustments, but I still been able to travel because I was in Ethiopia in November. No, I was in South Africa in October. I was in Ethiopia in November. I came back to the States, then I went to Egypt, then I went to Dubai, then I came back to the States. So the biggest thing is just having to take a COVID test before, flying out and flying in. I had a
Mhm.
tour to Egypt in January, and one person had got COVID, but like I said, the tours are insured, and they did get a full refund, and then we'll be rescheduling it sometime soon.
Nice, nice. That's good. That's very good to know, actually. So, and I'm sorry to hear that somebody caught COVID. That's not a joke. Is that, this thing here just seems like it doesn't want to go away. But I was going to ask, for your educational tours, oh, do you have a tour guide? Are you the tour guide? Like, how does that explain to me what a week would be like if we went on a tour with you to Egypt, for instance?
Okay. I mean, like I said, the tours is flexible, but I am the tour guide for the full 7 days, but I'll interact with my friends that's there, people I've networked with, you know what I'm saying? And they'll kind of add different things to the tour. Like if somebody want to do a photo shoot, then I'll get that person to go along with us and film. And then some people don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Some people may need a translator, or some people may want to go to a certain market. They may be looking for a specific item, or they may have activities that they want to do outside of the itinerary, and I can still connect them with people. But usually I'm with them for the full 7 days. Or
Yeah, you
it,
sound like you're very
yeah,
flexible. And then you saying that
yeah,
if you want to do a photo shoot in Egypt, it's like, who thinks of that? That's awesome.
right,
And then it kind of made me think
hmm,
about Cardi B when she came out with her first like hit video, music video. Remember? I
yeah,
forget the name of it. I felt like she was either in Dubai or Egypt. She was somewhere, or at least they
right.
made us feel like she was there. So listen, all these people that are artists, if you're trying to get your stuff together, if you're trying to get that music video look or photography together, Camp Cleveland is your guy. He's gonna get you all the way put together. I mean, you're gonna have a whole tour. And I think it's pretty cool that you're making it educational because some people here in our country, we kind of lack that cultural diversity, true cultural diversity. So it's good to know that, you've been to so many different countries in Africa, particularly because that's a place where a lot of us have not gone yet, including myself. So I want to go there one day. Who knows? I may have to pick one of your packages, and let it rip. Now I was looking on your website because I like to see the people that I'm going to bring on to the show, and I noticed I was like, this guy is selling African dirt. Like, what made you want to sell African dirt?
I mean, people always ask, so that was something that I just thought of. They be like, bring some dirt back, or bring this
That's
back,
true.
bring some rocks back. So it's all
That's
good.
too funny. And you know what you should say in return? And say, hey, I can do one better. I'll sell you the dirt, and then I'll sell you a package. So come on over here so you can see it for yourself. You take your own dirt.
Right, that's the best way to do it.
Because
Come
I'm
on
not
and
gonna
see it
lie,
for
I started
yourself.
laughing when I saw that. I'm like, just get on a plane and go. Like, but hey, what I mean, I've seen crazier things being sold, and I'll just leave it at that. So,
Right.
could you tell people your website so they'll know where to book their next tour, their educational tour with you, and also if they want to pick up some African dirt? Hey, I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So I have a website. I've been doing a lot of international e-commerce. So I bring products from Asia, Africa, South America, and I sell them online. We take special requests if you need something. The website is campcleveland.org, campcleveland.org. And also you can find information about the tours that I do. You can find information about my music. You can find information about my book, you know.
Say it. Tell them where can they only buy your book on your website, or is your book in other places right now? Like, is it on Amazon? Is it like in the bookstore? Is it only on the website?
For the most part, it's only on the website because I'm doing it independently. I've
Got
I've networked with a couple local bookstores. So that's the best place to get it on the website. Or like I said, if you on social media, you can contact me. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Melanated people. My handle is Camp Cleveland.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I do want to ask you one final question. Now, when I was kind of investigating, I saw a picture of you with adorable little children, and it just looks like you may have been somewhere in Africa. Do you remember that photo that I'm talking about?
I think so, because I go to a lot of different schools. I was I was fortunate enough to work with kids in Dominican Republic, Africa, the Philippines, but it's a school in particular in Cape Verde that's on the west side of Africa, and we've been working with a elementary school and a recreation center. So we take donations to them, cash, or sometimes we buy them school supplies or food or clothes or different things like that. Just trying to give back, you know.
Love it, love it. And I would love to parallel with you and work with you in the future to do that also. So we definitely will be talking behind the scenes. So thank you so much for
Thank you.
that. Thank you for doing what you're doing for the world. It's not just, some small city in your state, but you're doing this on a global scale. And more of us need to pick up the wave, and we need to run the play just like you're doing. So definitely want to thank you, Camp Cleveland, for sharing a little positivity on the King's Edition today. Also opening up our minds to Amsterdam. Now you guys know about the red light district. For those who didn't know, now you know. And then I also thank you for taking us on this tour in Africa, just mentally just visualizing some of the things you may have seen, smelled. I forgot to ask you that. What did you smell when you got off the plane when you first landed in Africa?
Okay, the first time I landed in Africa, it smelled beautiful. It looked beautiful. I didn't see anything you because it's very modern, especially in South Africa. So I'm coming from Cleveland, so their malls and their stores and their cars, like they had Benzes and Bentleys and BMWs. The women were very beautiful, well dressed. It smelled and looked amazing. Because when I went at the time that I went, this was like maybe almost 10 years ago. So it wasn't as much content available online in terms of Africa, especially like
Right.
positive content. If you Google South Africa or Africa, it would be rape, it would be murder, robbery, disease, you know what I'm saying? But now, in 2021, you can find more, positive things. So all of those things I was seeing for the first time. I didn't expect to see that.
Wow. Then that says so much about media, doesn't it? I mean, only
Yeah,
media was
definitely.
portraying them in a certain light. And when you went for yourself, it took your own personal experience for you to see and know that there's way more going on here than what I could ever imagine. So that being said, I want to tell the audience it's time for you guys to start venturing out. COVID is the numbers are dropping in a good way. So we can start getting back on these planes with our face mask on and seeing the world. We were all stuck in the house all 2020. So now it's time to get out here and get it. And I want to thank you, Camp Cleveland, for being a guest on the Sisters Talk Kings edition. Definitely look forward to working with you in the future, my brother, because you are doing fantastic things. I'm definitely thinking about booking a trip with you as well. I need to get to Africa, but I have a particular stop, and that's Abuja. So if you could put a package together for that, I would be forever grateful. So
Okay,
again, thank
okay.
you guys for listening to our show. Do you have any final words, sir?
No, definitely. I want to thank you again, Queen. I truly appreciate you. It's been an honor.
Definitely. I enjoyed this interview. We'll be having you back. And so thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you on next Sunday. We have Mrs. Gladys May West. She is the contributor, mathematical contributor of the GPS system. And she's a living legend that not enough people are talking about right now. So we definitely need to hashtag Gladys May West. She's 91 years old. I want to thank her daughter, Miss Carolyn, for allowing her to do this segment that's coming up on April 25th at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. You definitely don't want to miss this show. And shout out to D Creative. They did the promo content for us. We're so forever grateful. And again, we hope you have a blessed night. And thank you so much for tuning into the Sisters Talk podcast. We'll see you next Sunday.